Meanwhile, Donald Trump is now increasing the frequency and sharpness of the attacks on House Speaker Paul Ryan after Ryan said yesterday that he would no longer be defending or campaigning alongside Trump. Trump tweeted just this morning, and I quote, "Despite winning the second debate in a landslide, every poll, it is hard to do well when Paul Ryan and others give zero support." He went on to then tweet roughly an hour following, "Our very weak and ineffective leader, Paul Ryan, had a bad conference call where his members went wild at his disloyalty." End quote. Earlier, I spoke with co-managing editor of Bloomberg Politics, John Heilemann, and began by asking him about the real politic of all that unfolded within the GOP yesterday.
Well, I think the real politic is that first of all, there's always been a fair amount of latitude that the party has, to the extent that there is such a thing as the Republican Party or the Democratic Party for that matter. It's a little bit of they're not really, the party infrastructures don't really exist in a meaningful way, but to the extent that there is a party, there's always been a fair amount of latitude that these candidates have had to run their own races since Trump became the nominee. So you've had Rob Portman in Ohio, who's not really running as with any way connected to Trump, and Pat Toomey in Pennsylvania, and there are Congress people in the House who are in the few swing districts that exist, have been keeping their distance from Trump for a while. Yesterday, there was a formal declaration by Paul Ryan basically saying, we have lost the presidential election. That's what happened yesterday. Paul Ryan basically said, we're going to lose the presidential election. We are likely to lose the Senate. And the only bulwark we will have against the depredations, as he sees it, that Hillary Clinton and Democrats will bring to bear on Washington and on the nation is if we maintain a Republican control of the House. And so we now must focus all of our energy and effort, not just saying you guys can kind of go your own way, but aggressively telling people you're now going to have to really save your skin because this could be a sinking ship. Trump could be not just someone who's going to be at 41 or 42 and lose badly to Hillary Clinton, but someone who could end up at 35 or 36 and take the whole thing down with him. And so this was more of a, not sort of a, you have a hall pass. This was more like a siren call. You are in trouble. A lot of you who think you're in a little bit of trouble, you're in a lot of trouble. Yeah. People who think that you're not in much trouble, you're in trouble too, and you're going to need to start taking emergency measures to keep yourself from losing, or else we are going to have Democratic rule across both houses of Congress and the White House. And Ryan saying, you know, I will no longer campaign with Donald Trump. I will no longer defend Donald Trump. I will no longer say anything to help Donald Trump. Again, is a pretty dramatic thing to do. He didn't go as far as to unendorse. And
is it so that if somebody reads back the official transcript, they can never say technically that he didn't unendorse? Because to your point, you didn't have to read between any lines to hear him say Hillary Clinton has won this election.
Yes, but I think that the key element here is what you saw happen, right? So Ryan does what he did yesterday, and a response comes from Trump. The response is a tweet and then a comment at his event last night in Pennsylvania, which are relatively mild. You know, the Speaker of the House should focus more on taxing and spending and dealing with the budget and not attacking the Republican nominee. But Trump did not go nuclear on Ryan. I think Ryan was calibrating that if he had said, I now unendorse Donald Trump, or I now think Trump should not be on the ticket, as many Republicans did over the weekend, that it would provoke greater outrage from Trump. And what Ryan recognizes is that there are millions of Trump supporters, and those voters are necessary for House Republicans to win in a lot of districts. And so Ryan is trying to walk the narrow line to serve all of his members and sort of say, you members for whom distancing yourself from Trump is important, you have latitude. I'm urging you to do that. You members over here that are relying on a big Trump base, I don't want to make things harder for you by sticking my thumb in Donald Trump's eye. So I'm gonna poke him with my elbow rather than sticking my thumb in, or both of my thumbs in both of his eyes. I mean, it seems crazy that that's the kind of calibration that's in play here, but that is the kind of calibration that's in play here. And you could see it sort of worked in the sense that Trump didn't go crazy yesterday about Ryan. He kind of poked back. And they kind of found a place, again, just for today, just for yesterday, they found a place where they're both kind of poking each other, but not like jamming each other really hard and maybe upsetting this delicate balance that could actually cost Republicans the House.
Well, and so Paul Ryan has always had this ever tenuous endorsement to begin with Donald Trump. It was the least surprising thing, perhaps, that we saw. But especially in the last 72 hours.
I mean, trust me, Paul Ryan thinks Donald Trump is appalling. appalling on almost every level.
He just realizes he cannot come
it's just,
out.
It's just he feels this great institutional responsibility as the highest-ranking Republican elected officer in the country, and he's got these members that he feels responsible, and he feels responsible for. Again, he believes that Hillary Clinton and Democrats running the House and Senate would be bad for the country. So he's got various things that are kind of weighing against him. But yesterday at this event I was at with Trump and Ambridge, Trump, to the extent he talked about policy at all, which was very little. The two things he talked about were how horrible it was that Hillary Clinton is for free trade and how horrible it is that anybody wants to rein in entitlements. Those two things are core to Paul Ryan's worldview. Free trade, reforming entitlements. I mean, again, Trump wasn't attacking Ryan, but the bottom line, they don't agree about almost anything in the world, and policy matters to Paul Ryan. So he looks at Trump and thinks he's personally appalling. I disagree with him on all things as a matter of policy. I hate this life I have for myself.
Okay, so
it's my life.
But it's that
the life I'm living.
So it's that idea frame. Paul Ryan's one, and you've mentioned it. You know, Donald Trump yesterday, one of the first things he did was discuss his good friendship with Ben Roethlisberger, who's previously been accused of sexual assault
twice.
You have Mike Pence, who on Friday was said that the Pence camp was said to be nuclear. It was believed, as he said, I'm going to take 48 hours away. There were real questions about what he might do and the impact, fundamentally, essentially, that would have had on any future that this campaign had. And yet yesterday morning, there was Governor Mike Pence lauding the big win for his running mate.
After his running mate had thrown him under the bus in the middle,
in his sole mention of him, he and I haven't spoken, and I disagree with him.
But again, you know, there's that crazy psychodrama going on between the two of them, right? Because Trump was apparently really upset that Pence did not defend Trump more in the vice presidential debate. So now, you know, Trump gets on stage, and Trump's attitude is, well, my vice president, you know, didn't really defend me. He took a pass on defending me in his debate. I'm going to throw him under the bus. So they're having their own little psychodrama. And then, of course, there was what happened over the weekend where, as you said, Pence sort of said, I can't defend Trump. I can't condone what Trump did on this tape, the Access Hollywood tape. And I'm going to wait and see what he does at the debate.
And the people jumping off the train were saying, I'll support Pence, one after the other.
And yesterday, you know, when we woke up yesterday, if Mike Pence had woken up yesterday and said, I'm done, it would have been, you know, we're already in apocalypse now territory in this campaign, but it would have been cataclysm plus apocalypse. You know, I can't get inside Mike Pence's head. You know, the other night on another network, Steve Schmidt, John McCain's chief strategist, basically said, you know, Mike Pence has built his entire political brand and his entire political character around being a Christian conservative, Christian first. And the choice, again, as Steve put it in this discussion, was this is a choice between a profile, he's going to be a profile on courage and a profile in principle and sticking with what he's ostensibly built his whole political life on, or is he making a careerist choice on some calculation about what he thinks will better his prospects in a future Republican race for the presidency, a future Republican Party? And I think many Republicans look at what the choice Pence made yesterday as a choice of careerism over principle. You know, I don't know what's exactly going on in Mike Pence's head, but it was weird to hear a Christian conservative yesterday invoking his faith to defend Donald Trump and say that's why he had ended up on Donald Trump's side, because of what he'd seen on the debate stage when Trump expressed really no contrition on the debate stage. It was jarring and hard to square with what we think about where Mike Pence has come from throughout his career.
Weird, jarring, and hard to square.
Yeah, that's the campaign. There it is in a nutshell.
Wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, also surreal, psychotic, hallucinatory, and often really depressing.
John Heilemann, we're giving mugs away today.
Peace, baby.